Heyo everybody, Haku here with my read-through for Magical Girl Raising Project, or Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Keikaku, Chapter 5. And again, Part 3, we're at Farewell My Friend, starting with Fall on page 30, and going to page 45, I think. That's where we're going to be going this time. Again, I'm sorry that even with the shorter times I've been keeping these two for this chapter, it's still taking so long to get through, or not really so long to get through everything. But I was going to say, sorry that it's taken me like a bit to get these videos out. Most of them have been a bit later in the week. I really want to post these all on Tuesdays. That's just my personal thing with Magical Girl Raising Project. So yeah, I really want to get these out on Tuesdays, but they've been a bit late lately. It's just coming back from being sick for a month. I've just been so crazy trying to catch up on things that I missed for that month that, yeah, things are just taking a while. But either way, I'm excited to read. My mouth and throat already feel kind of dry, so I'm probably going to have to drink a lot of water during this one. I don't think I got any water during the last one because I was just like so hooked on how intense it was. Last part of this, I almost said last chapter, but part 2 for this read through, sorry, there's like a glare off to the side from my lighting it kept drawing my attention. But yeah, last time, part 2 of this was maybe the best fight that I've read in anime or manga. Either one, anime or manga. It was so good. It was so creative and well written, and it had so many twists. It was just and I like that it was a simple 1v1 fight. It wasn't like one of these fights where they're pulling out these new powers, these power-ups and stuff. It was one person with their power against another person with their power, 1v1, no interruptions, and yet there were so many twists and surprises that I didn't expect coming throughout it. It was just so good. It was so good, and I believe, of course, that we lost Michan during it, so Michan is gone now. This arc still has quite a lot of characters alive. This is one of those, kind of like last arc a little bit, though, where I kind of expect a little bit more than usual to survive, because a lot of things feel like set up for future arcs, so it's not going to maybe be as death heavy as, say, like the first arc was. It seems like we're going to have a little bit more surviving. But yeah, and even the first part of this chapter, incredible. I loved the Bluebell Candy section and the Princess Deluge section. So far, who do we have left alive? Let me take stock really quick. So of course we still have Shadowgale, Armor Arlie, and it might even be quicker to name who's dead, but we still got Shadowgale, Armor Arlie, Pfle, Deluge, Bluebell Candy, Glassianne, Dark Cutie, and that's all for that side of things. And then on the sort of smaller side of things, we got Shufflin and CQ Angel Hamuel. And then on the sort of good guy-ish, maybe, side of things, Puck's coming in, but I don't know how much of a direct role she's going to play in everything, so I don't know. I mean, she's not one of the 16, you know. But we still got Snow White up, Premium Sachiko, Uluru, and there was one more. Ripple. Ripple is still here. So we still have, we're almost to the end of this entire arc, and we still have 13 alive. That means the only ones that have died are Sarami, Michan, and Patricia way back at the beginning. That's crazy. I could have sworn that more had died than that. It's crazy that there's still 13 left. That means we're probably in for a lot dying. Because I don't know about Dark Cutie. She could survive, but I definitely get the feeling that Glassianne's probably going to die just because she's not that important. I feel like Bluebell Candy could certainly die because of how good she is and how much she means to Deluge. It just makes me think she's too pure for this world. That's the feeling I get from Bluebell. I don't know about Sachiko, because she's important to the thing that's going on. The sort of, the thing that they're having, the sacrifice. Well, not really. We don't know that it's a sacrifice. What's the word I'm thinking of here? The word is escaping me for some reason. But whatever it is, the ceremony or whatever that they need her for, because she's necessary for it, that either means she's totally surviving because they need her for it, or she's totally dying because they need her for it. It can go either way. Of course, I'm not expecting anything too bad to happen to Snow White and Ripple. They feel like too much like main characters and plot armored at this point for them to... They could suffer some heavy losses or some psychological issues, but I don't see them dying. Let's see. Anything else I'm particularly predicting here? I'm hoping Uluru survives. I'm just hoping it. I'm not even letting the thought cross my mind that she could die. Also, Armor Arlie and Shadow Gale haven't done much of anything, so I don't want them to die at this point after not having done much of anything. Pfle's kind of in a situation with Ripple and Snow White where I can see bad things happening to Pfle, but I don't necessarily see Pfle dying. At least not in this arc. I feel like this arc is, again, a very set-up heavy arc, and it feels like a lot of characters could survive because of that. I do definitely think CQ Angel Hamuel in this second version of Shufflin' that doesn't have a Joker, they could totally and completely die, because, again, they're characters they're bad guys, but they're not that developed and important. I think they could totally die. That's something I could see happening. Especially because we don't have a Joker here, and I still believe that the sort of original Joker is still alive. But yeah, either way, that was a long discussion, but I just thought that since we're here, you might want to hear my thoughts on who's left and who I thought might live or die. But yeah, either way, let's start on page 30 and read from Fall. We just finished the fight, so we have Fall. From alley to alley, the three girls ran as fast as they can. Snow White was in the lead, with Sachiko in the middle and Uluru covering their backs. Magical Girl detected, somewhere around this corner pone. Snow White looked back at Uluru. The two nodded. Uluru focused behind them, crouching down and having her gun ready. Snow White equipped Ruler, and she peered across the corner. A demon charged toward her, ready to strike. Snow White was prepared. She used the momentum of the demon to predict when it'll come, and attack with her halberd as soon as it came close. However, the demon also had a chance to react. Instantly it transformed its wings into a hard shield, blocking Snow White's stabs and slashes. They were forced to retreat. The demon pursued them. Snow White stood her ground, though she did retreat for a bit to gain a better fighting advantage. Blam! The sound of a gunshot deafened the alley. Everyone, including the demon, was stunned. That moment of hesitation was all Snow White needed to cut down the demon with her halberd. She moved fast, slicing it in half. The demon broke apart. But Fall's radar wasn't over. That's interesting. The sound of a gunshot. I wonder what that was from then. Because I don't think... Unless... I thought that, I didn't think they could even make gunshot sounds from, the fake rifle that Uluru had. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Uluru's rifle can still produce gunshot sounds, and that's what it was. But either way. But Fall's radar still wasn't over. Snow White led the sisters further into the maze of alleys. I almost said the alley of mazes. Snow White sensed someone running after her, the shadows seemingly playing with their mind. They saw glimpses of a figure darting across the alleyways. Before they got any further, their path was blocked by a magical girl who landed from above. A dark-suited magical girl. The same magical girl that fought Snow White back in the amusement park a while ago. Dark Cutie. And I like this. Whenever we get a face-off with Snow White and Dark Cutie, it feels so cool instantly because it's almost like two legends going up against each other. Even though Dark Cutie hasn't had the same kind of setup that Snow White has, you still kind of get that feeling. Like... it'd be so cool if there was another character that throughout multiple arcs had been built up in a certain way to be really cool. Like if we had 2 or 3 arcs with, say Marika, and then Marika and Snow White ended up on opposing sides, it'd be like, oh crap, these are... Marika's met Snow White, so it doesn't really work, but if we had like Snow White and another character who had been built up in arcs away from Snow White and they hadn't really seen each other, and then we saw them face off, it would be like, these are like 2 legends of the series facing off. But even without that backstory for Dark Cutie, you just kind of get that feeling with her and Snow White. Sachiko screamed. She ran the opposite direction. Snow White looked around and Sachiko was already speeding past Uluru. But then Sachiko stopped and fell backwards, giving out a small yelp. Snow White realized what it was. On the alley wall was the shadow of a hound dog. The shadow was barking and making noises like a real dog, even though it's just a 2D shadow. It opened its mouth to reveal its fangs and ran toward Sachiko. So, that's how Dark Cutie tracked them. The hound dog, despite being a shadow, was very much real. Their sense of smell was incredible, and they've probably been following them since the amusement park. That is such a cool ability, too. It's like, not even like, there are a lot of characters that can control shadows, but it's not even like a Shikamaru type shadow controlling ability, but the shadows actually have the properties of the things they're taking the shape of, which is insane. So that was really good. And they couldn't even see it because they wouldn't know to look for a shadow. Shadows also don't have any thoughts, so Snow White wouldn't be able to detect it. Shadows are not magical girls, so Fal's radar wouldn't catch it. It's the perfect infiltrator. The Shadow Hound tried to bite Sachiko, and Sachiko jumped away, trying desperately to avoid it. Her feet and shadow were dangerously close to the hound dog. Uluru went in front of Sachiko, trying her best to block her from the shadow dog. The dog's fangs took hold of Uluru's guns, and the two wrestled each other on it. The shadows, they may not physically be in the 3D plane, but they are real, meaning shadows can interact with other shadows. When Snow White saw this, she made sure to cut the Shadow Hound. Instead of aiming for it using her real halberd, she cut it down using her Shadow Halberd. The Shadow Hound was decapitated, and the shadow melted away. Again, Snow White just being so intelligent here. Dark Cutie moved silently. She lunged toward Sachiko, but she was stopped by a halberd blocking her path. Snow White launched her toward a wall. Dark Cutie began avoiding Snow White's attacks. No matter what happened, Dark Cutie isn't getting to Sachiko. Snow White was locked in combat with Dark Cutie, the two trading blows. She motioned for Uluru and Sachiko to retreat, and the two sisters passed by the two magical girls fighting each other. They ran as fast as possible. Dark Cutie retreated above. Snow White darted toward the sisters. Dark Cutie landed in front of the sisters. Snow White jumped over the sisters, swinging her halberd down. It was caught by Dark Cutie before it could even cut her. "Stop moving or you'll die," shouted Uluru. Snow White managed to ignore Uluru's magic, countering it with her own. But Dark Cutie didn't stop. She didn't seem to care. It's as if she couldn't hear her. Dark Cutie moved her arms. In the shadows, she created shadows of spears and whips. They were elongated due to the sunset behind her. The sunset. It was giving an advantage to Dark Cutie, elongating all the shadows she's creating. Snow White realized the danger, urging for Sachiko and Uluru to stay behind her. The spears and whips moved to attack Snow White. She tried to defend against them, but the shadows don't work like reality. They can bend. The whips slashed Snow White's face. The spears pierced through her legs. Snow White's eyes widened. Blood was dripping down her dress. Wow, this is getting intense. Snow White took all the attacks, trying to attack Dark Cutie as well, but Dark Cutie's spears and whips didn't stop. Every blow caused Snow White to be wounded. Avoiding the shadows was harder than dodging an attack in real life. Snow White was coughing blood. Her breathing was getting heavy, but she won't let Dark Cutie pass through her. Dark Cutie continued her onslaught, but despite the wounds that Snow White endured, she won't let Dark Cutie get to Sachiko. "Uluru, Sachiko, run." Snow White was weakened. She shook her head, and this is insanity, actually. Because Snow White, we've seen, like, even in the previous arc, against really powerful opponents, Snow White still hung in there with, like, some of the strongest of the strong when it comes to combat. And now to have somebody who's really, truth be told, dominating Snow White in combat like this, even though, of course, situation is favorable with the sunset, it's still pretty crazy how well Snow White is just getting defeated by Dark Cutie, really. Dark Cutie continued her onslaught, but despite the... Okay, I read that. Uluru, Sachiko, run. Snow White was weakened. She shook her head to focus her eyes, but the whips kept attacking. The whip grabbed Snow White by the neck, choking her. Dark Cutie then threw her towards the wall. Uluru grabbed Sachiko's hand and bolted away. When Dark Cutie moved to pursue, Snow White restrained her from behind with her halberd. There was blood all over Snow White's face, stab wounds and lacerations across her body, but still she kept going. Her face was that of pure determination as she struggled against Dark Cutie's strength. Dark Cutie must have earplugs on, the ones that prevented her from hearing Uluru's words, but as a side effect it allowed Snow White to get the jump on her. Snow White pinned Dark Cutie toward a wall, locking her down with her halberd with her fist. Locking her down with her halberd. With her fist, Snow White punched Dark Cutie repeatedly. Each hit that Snow White did was meant to end the fight. Each punch that she delivered had the weight to knock anyone out, but Dark Cutie had incredible endurance. Dark Cutie moved to attack Snow White with her shadows, but Snow White sensed it. Released Dark Cutie, and jumped backwards. Snow White's movements were dulled. She gritted her teeth, holding her hand on one of her wounds. Uluru and Sachiko were long gone, and Snow White had achieved her objective of distracting Dark Cutie. Snow White kicked the wall and jumped up high, grabbing the ledge of the window, and kicked against the wall again. She climbed up towards the rooftop. Dark Cutie created a shadow rope, like a grappling hook, and threw it across to the rooftop, following Snow White. Alright, here we go. Now we're jumping away to Princess Deluge. I like this. That just felt like stage 1, and they're going to keep fighting as sort of the sun goes down and there's no more sort of ammunition in the form of light for Dark Cutie to create shadows. And on the other hand, Snow White's already injured, but she'll be fighting against an opponent who has less offensive capability. So that's really, really cool and interesting. That was really good. And we saw Uluru and Sachiko got to escape, but there's still Deluge and Pfle's group around. Glassianne is somewhere, probably just doing recon and telling them what's going on from a distance, though you'd think. Some of the Shufflin are still around, even though most of the strongest Shufflin, I believe most of the strongest ones have already been taken out. But they're still around, so is Hamuel, but I don't know how much Hamuel can really fight on her own. So yeah, this is really, really cool. I'm ready to move on to Deluge. I really, really like this arc. This is up there. Like, I know I haven't finished it yet. I haven't got to the end. But Limited's my least favorite arc. Limited's still good. It doesn't have a very good ending, but it's still good. It's a good arc. But then there's, like, this arc. This arc is really, really, really great. And I would say just barely above ACES is Jokers and Unmarked. Jokers and Unmarked are like incredible. This is a really, really, really good arc, but I think for me Unmarked and Jokers just kind of barely beat it a little bit. But I don't know, this last chapter is doing a good job at arguing the case for ACES because the fights have been so good. There are a lot of good fights in Jokers though too. And then Restart just beats anything. Restart is one of the best things I think I've ever read in anything. But either way, let me actually start reading Princess Deluge now. Let me give you a page number 2. We're toward the end of page 34. Princess Deluge. The new demons she had were upgraded models. These ones were far better than what she'd seen before when she first considered the disruptors. The new models were able to fly well, and Deluge felt the rush of air as the demon she was riding on zoomed out high in the sky. This wasn't the first time she flew either, not even after the incident. Deluge remembered when she was still a Sorry, something's going on. The page is lagging a little bit. Okay, it looks fine now. Deluge remembered when she was still a new magical girl. She remembered when she was just introduced to the pure elements. Not a few days after that, Princess Tempest had wanted to show her something. "Come on, I'll show you. Come outside and see," said Tempest. Deluge rolled her eyes. "Okay, whatever it is, I hope it's worth it, Tempest." Tempest snickered. She opened the door to the base, and she flew up. Deluge walked calmly outside. She looked around. "Well, what is it, Tempest?" asked Deluge. "Hold on tight," said Tempest as she tackled Deluge from behind, grabbing onto her arms and flying away. "Whoa, Tempest, whoa." Deluge remembered feeling scared on the first attempt, but as she soared through the sky, she understood why Tempest felt so free in the air. Tempest smiled all the time when she carried Deluge across the skies. Eventually, Deluge learned to enjoy the ride, getting a bit jealous of Tempest's ability to fly. After each ride, they went back home. Deluge always remembered Inferno greeting them back home. "Man, Deluge, you're really adaptable, you know. You're super calm in almost any situation," said Inferno. Man, it's just remembering the early parts of Jokers and how well the pure elements were developed. Jeez, the pure elements were so good. I really hope after this arc I get to read another episodes. I'm really excited to see more episodes with the characters from Jokers. "Super calm in almost any situation," said Inferno. Deluge knew that wasn't true. Deluge knew that was far from the truth, especially now. This reminded me of something. Hang on, I'm just gonna take a quick aside. When I was saying that these fights being so amazing is making me reconsider, I just remembered talking about that, why it is that for me, Unmarked and Jokers are just a step above ACES, and that's because in ACES, a lot of these characters, like I said, we barely saw Patricia, we've barely seen Armor Arlie, we know next to nothing about Glassianne. Michan was awesome, but we knew next to nothing about her. We don't really know much of anything about CQ Angel Hamuel. The characters aren't, the fights have been amazing, and the overall story has been amazing, but the individual characters just aren't as easy to be attached to and loved as the ones in Unmarked and Jokers. Whereas in Jokers, like all the pure elements, Marika and Styler Mimi, there were just a lot of characters that were really, really good and really highly developed on an individual character standpoint in Jokers that aren't so much in ACES. But hold on, I'll continue now. We're at the very end of page 35. She didn't want to remember that. They were good memories, and she'd always remember it, but she didn't want to right now. Alright. Deluge flew down from the demon wings, but she didn't wait. She jumped off, falling through the wind and clouds. Not that it would bother her. Deluge is immune to cold weather and icy things. She landed on the streets below. Alright. Deluge's collaborators, and by extension Pfle, were not someone she trusted. With their line of work, she knew they were a group of liars and conspirators. There was no reason to believe anything they say. After all, would you believe someone whose way of telling you information was by giving you files and papers for you to read at home? Deluge only believed in their fighting ability and their efficiency. Deluge needed that, but that's the only extent. They weren't partners, they were tools. Deluge was sure that they knew what she was thinking as well. All the more reason not to trust them, as they may easily mislead her. Perhaps they also don't truly care about each other, not on a sentimental level. Bounty hunters like them have a dirty job to do, and sentiment is never a good thing in those kinds of jobs. Deluge will only work together with them for so long as they remain useful to her cause. Unless Deluge sees the information and facts themselves, and not through a piece of paper or a recording or text, Deluge had no reason to believe any of their information. That doesn't just include her collaborators, but almost everything she's read or heard. Grimheart and Shufflin's fate, everything she knows about the Three Sages, the ritual that was supposedly happening. Again, that's really smart, because again, as a reader, I don't know how much there is to know about the Three Sages. We haven't got too super introduced to them yet, but I don't trust Grimheart and Shufflin are dead. I don't think they're dead whatsoever, and the ritual has a lot of mystery surrounding it. Ever since she was tricked on the true purpose of magical girls when her whole family was deceived, she wouldn't believe anyone on words alone. Again, and that makes so much sense for her character. It's really good. But there is one thing she still hasn't figured out. Pfle. She was a mystery to her. Her actions seemed to have some ulterior motives, but Deluge doesn't know what. That's why she didn't trust her. However, she always felt in control when meeting Pfle. Deluge was stronger, Deluge was faster, Deluge was tougher. If we're taking appearances, Pfle didn't threaten Deluge at all. Pfle came to W City by herself, without notifying Deluge, expecting to meet Deluge. That's completely suspicious. My, it seems you're taking some rather strange actions. I thought you were supposed to be looking for Premium Sachiko, said Pfle. Do you realize your position right now? You're not in any position to tell me what to do, said Deluge. It's exactly because of my position that I came here in the hopes of helping you. If I just stay at my mansion, it's not going to get done any faster after all. Neither will personally helping me. Tell me something, Deluge. Why do you want Premium Sachiko? Asked Pfle. I have my reasons. And here we go again. I can't understand what your endgame is, so I don't know how to best assist you. Capturing Premium Sachiko weakens the Osk faction. Anything that weakens the Osk faction is something worth pursuing to me, said Deluge. Well, I'll leave the sage fighting to you. One more question I'd like to ask, said Pfle with a gentle smile. Deluge didn't like that. Shadowgale, is she safe? Would you check on her for me? Asked Pfle. She's fine. Then would you kindly return her, please? Asked Pfle. What is this request? Is it a trap? Did she free Shadowgale already? A bluff. If you think you're going to trick me, you won't, said Deluge. It's not a trick. I'm genuinely concerned for her safety, Deluge. She's important to you because you need her to control me. She's important to me for my own personal reasons, said Pfle with a cold stare. Deluge glared back at Pfle. Deluge, you can think of me in any way you want. I don't care. My concern is Shadowgale's safety. The bounty hunters you hired from me are contracted to you. I won't hold back on that deal. However, with Shadowgale back, you'll be rid of me for good, said Pfle. Man, I really love this. I love how smart, because you know how smart and devious Pfle is, so you're never sure how much you can trust anything. Her offer seems good. Deluge didn't want the human resources magical girl to be connected to her. She has contacts, and she could easily track her down if she tried. However, at the same time, the leverage was good for Deluge, so she didn't really know if there was more to be gained from being rid of Pfle or more to be gained from keeping her on a leash. Deluge, is everything okay? She heard a voice from behind her. Floating softly downward from one of the demons was Bluebell. I'm fine, replied Deluge. Bluebell ran up next to Deluge. Good evening. My name is Bluebell Candy. I'm a friend of Deluge, she said while bowing down. Ah, a pleasure. I'm also a friend of Deluge, said Pfle with a soft smile. As the two continued talking, Deluge had a thought. Is Shadowgale still in the warehouse? Deluge had made sure that she had enough security there. Demons as well as Armor Arlie to ensure no rescue party could touch her. Deluge took out her magical phone. She contacted the number for her hidden warehouse. She waited for a while. No answer. Impossible. There were many people there. Did Pfle? Deluge looked over at Pfle, who was smiling and chatting with Bluebell. Deluge tried to contact again. No answer. Again she called, but there was no answer. Deluge felt sick in her stomach. She was stressed. She had to find out what happened. Bluebell, I need a candy, said Deluge. The two magical girls were interrupted, and looked at Deluge. Bluebell was slightly startled, but then she produced one of her candies again. Oh, okay, said Bluebell. Deluge ate the candy. She needed to calm down. She needed to think straight again. I'm going, said Deluge. What? Where are you going? I'll come along, said Bluebell, rushing to Deluge's side once more. No, stay here. Watch that magical girl. Don't listen to anything she says, and don't give her anything at all, said Deluge. Hey, Deluge, that's a little harsh, isn't it? What's going on? Asked Bluebell. If you need me, you know my number, said Deluge, walking away. Originally, Deluge didn't want to have to use Bluebell at all. She wanted Bluebell to stay home, but there's no time for Bluebell to go home. Bluebell could watch over Pfle, and Deluge would check back on Shadowgale. There's no way that Shadowgale's location could have been compromised. Had Pfle known, was there some way of her finding out? Did she send a sneak attack? A raiding party? Even so, the security that Deluge placed in the warehouse was supposed to be safe. Not only were there demons, but also there were 3 other magical girls, Armor Arlie and the other 2. Okay, so there were 2 other that we don't get to know yet. They shouldn't be easily defeated. Still, there was always that chance. Deluge climbed up to the demon wings, and she flew away, soaring above the clouds. Once more, only she wasn't going to do it for fun anymore. Not like those old days. Okay, so this is really interesting. So I'm wondering then, because she was like, is it really worth keeping Pfle around? So if the place was attacked, it's kind of weird to think, should her focus be on making sure that Shadowgale is still secured, or should she not get distracted by that and keep pursuing Sachiko? Because this seems like a distraction away from Sachiko, which seems like it could be the bigger goal for her here, but I'm not sure. But either way, we're almost done with this section. Let me finish it really quick. Deluge descended. She saw the warehouse building in the distance. What happened there? Did Pfle sabotage it? Is Armor Arlie and the others okay? Is Shadowgale still there? Deluge and the demon flew faster. She took a gulp of her medicine and prepared for the worst. Alright, now we're going over to Glassianne on page 41. Let me grab some water before continuing this time, though. Okay, this is exciting. Let's go to Glassianne then. Oh, and also, we don't know what happened to Puck Puck in the car that may or may not have been her, because Ripple intercepted Michan, who was going after them. So now that Ripple has intercepted Michan, we don't know what happened with that yet. So much mystery in this final chapter. And now we have Glassianne. Monoshiri Michan had been killed. Michan died because she was hit by an unexpected opponent. Considering how unprepared she was, she fought bravely and resourcefully. Glassianne never wanted to think about that possibility, but she was only fooling herself. In a job like this, there was always the possibility of them dying. No matter how small, it just comes with the job description. But even so, it still feels so unnatural. Michan is dead, and Glassianne still hasn't fully accepted that it's happened. Glassianne looked calm on the outside. She's a professional, of course. She'd be calm no matter what happened. But inside, her mind was floating. She was thinking of Michan. She couldn't concentrate on anything else. She sighed out loud, noticing that she's only distracting herself. Glassianne saw the whole fight, but was unable to provide assistance. She couldn't find the ninja in the forest. She was too fast. She couldn't provide assistance to Michan on the field. Glassianne couldn't fight as well as the others. She couldn't even fulfill her own role as a scout. The ninja disappeared just as fast as she appeared after killing Michan. Michan wasn't even supposed to be there. Oh! This makes sense why Glassianne can't track her, though. She's probably having, Pithy Frederica pull her in and out. That's why she couldn't track Ripple arriving, and why she couldn't track Ripple after she killed Michan either. Because Ripple probably has Pithy to use for transportation. Michan wasn't even supposed to be there. Deluge was supposed to be doing this kind of work. Where is she? She hired them. She was the one that told them to find Premium Sachiko. The only one that was doing all the legwork is Michan. Now Michan's dead because Deluge didn't even want to cooperate with her own team. Deluge was the one who diverted course from the original plan to massacre some Shufflin. By the time Deluge had finished, the game was over and Sachiko escaped. Glassianne removed her glasses. She rubbed her forehead. All these emotions were still welling up inside of her. She placed her glasses back on her face. Turning on the intercom in her ear, she wanted to inform Dark Cutie. She wanted to tell her that Michan's passed, but then she decided against it. Right now Dark Cutie was busy fighting Snow White. It'd be bad to ruin her focus in a deadly battle like this. Premium Sachiko's escaped again, and Glassianne's team was dwindling even further. But now, Glassianne had to fill in Michan's shoes. Dark Cutie can sometimes lose her cool, lose her judgment, and act alone. Usually, Michan was the one who handled that. Her logic and her words were respected by Dark Cutie. Dark Cutie may be the leader, but the true voice of the team was always Michan. Glassianne is no substitute for that. How could she hope to fill in such large shoes like that? So what do? She had no choice but to keep doing exactly what she does best, scouting and searching. After all, that's her specialty. On the team, that's her role, her purpose. She's not as good at any other thing. I feel like the way we're getting her here, I'm just waiting for a Shufflin or Hemuel to come out of nowhere and kill Glassianne. I'm like getting these really sort of sketchy, anxious vibes right now. On the team, that's her role, her purpose. She's not as good at any other thing. After all, a specialist isn't a generalist. What was she going to write in her report? What was she going to tell Dark Cutie? Monoshiri Michan has died? Glassianne shook her head. She had to inform someone. She had to stick to the plan. Michan would have done that. She turned on the intercom, contacting Deluge. Hello, Deluge, this is Glassianne. We've lost Premium Sachiko again, but Dark Cutie is currently engaging Snow White in W City. I can send you the location as well. If we want to capture Sachiko, we need your support. Raise the alert levels, send the demons. Dark Cutie's going to need every bit of help you can muster. Glassianne paused for a bit. Also, I have bad news. Michan's died. She's gone. She was fighting some kind of ninja magical girl in the mountainside forest. Monoshiri Michan is dead, replied Deluge. Her voice seemed so off-putting. Glassianne almost wanted to punch something. It's clear that there wasn't any compassion between them, but Michan was still Glassianne's friend. Another call came from Glassianne's intercom. She'd connected it with her magical phone in order to be hands-free. Hello, answered Glassianne. Glassianne, is that you? Could you speak up a bit louder? Said the voice of Pfle. Boss, what's wrong? I'm currently in W City, after meeting with Deluge. Glassianne instantly switched channels in her glasses. She switched multiple times before finding Pfle sitting by a river. Glassianne zoomed in. Sure enough, it really was her. There's been a change of plans, Glassianne, said Pfle. What do you mean? We won't need to capture Premium Sachiko anymore. Withdraw. I'll meet you at the usual place. Tell Dark Cutie as well, said Pfle. A withdrawal? So the mission was over? Then what was the point of all this? Did Michan die for nothing? Glassianne took a deep breath. She was praying that wherever Michan was, heaven or hell, she'd be watching over and forgiving Glassianne for getting her killed. Man, And now we're going to Dark Cutie. Before I continue, let me see, because I actually might want to go further than usual. I'm really excited reading right now. Alright. Right, there's another scene break. Jeez, is there one close to 60? Because if so, okay, there's one at 58. And then, alright. So there's a page break at 58, and I don't think there's any more before then. Okay, so I'm wondering, I thought there was one on 45, but I'm on 44 right now, and there isn't one on 45. Okay, so I'm wondering, do I end this now, or it's already 35 minutes. Yeah, I think I should end this now so I can get this posted, because it's already 4 p.m. and I want to get this posted tonight. I don't want it to wait until tomorrow. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and post this today, end it here, and next time, hopefully Tuesday, so only like, 3 or 4 days from now, hopefully Tuesday I'll do the next part, which will be 44, where we're leaving off here, to 58, because I was looking, because it was jumping to Dark Cutie, and I didn't want to end in the middle of a fight or anything, so if the fight is from 44 to 58, where it looks like there's another jump to another character, then I'll read that for the next video on Tuesday, and I might go even further than that, depending on how long it takes. You know how it goes. But I really, really liked this. And I like that each part of this chapter that I've read through gives us something different. The first part, we had this really, really good character stuff and emotional stuff. Second part, we got this amazing fight. And this third part, we got a lot of really cool mystery. Well, not really necessarily mystery, but a lot of plot development and the different mysteries going on of what this character's doing, where this character's going, all this different stuff. The conversation between Pfle and Deluge is really a highlight for me. But I also liked seeing from Glassianne's perspective. I did like that. So there was a lot of good again this time. And the first part of the fight that we got to see with Snow White and Dark Cutie, like I said, the first time that they faced off, and like I said here, it's just this really big feeling of like two titans of magical girls going up against each other. Like, it's not like when we see even Ripple against Michan. Ripple against Michan are both really talented, really good fighters, but they don't have sort of that fame or infamy behind them that when it's like you get Snow White, who is known far and wide as a magical girl hunter and stuff, and Dark Cutie, who is this famous mercenary and anime magical girl, and the two of them face off against each other. It's just this big feeling when these two famous or more famous magical girls face off against each other. But either way, it was really, really cool. I really enjoyed reading, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So like if you did like the video, and comment down there to tell me what you thought of this part of the chapter, what you thought of my thoughts in it and all that. Subscribe for more Magical Girl Raising Project, much more on the channel. Like I said, hopefully Tuesday. It won't be later next week, hopefully. Hopefully Tuesday I'll be able to get this this next section out. And yeah, I'm excited for the rest of this. It's been really good lately, and like I've said, I've been loving this arc. So yeah, I'm really excited to finish this off and to get into episodes. Because it's been a while since we've done, like, the original episodes. So just to get side stories with the character, like, I didn't really think about it until I was talking earlier in this video, but now that I think about it, like, I'm excited to get, like, side stories from characters from Jokers and from characters maybe from ACES too. That's going to be really cool. Getting side stories with, like, maybe Grimheart or Shufflin, or maybe some of the, like, Dark Cutie or the mercenary group here. Getting some side stories, maybe even for Patricia or Armor Arlie, because I haven't got much screen time. But especially for, like, the Pure Elements, or Shufflin or Grimheart. Or Styler Mimi, or Marika, a lot of these characters from Jokers, because, again, the characters were a lot more developed there. Like, getting side stories with some of these characters from Jokers again, or like Filaru, or Kafuria, oh, it'd be so good, or Utakata. Man, I'm really excited for the next set of episodes now, because getting those for the Jokers characters would be so good. and they could be used for some of these ACES characters that I've said, they haven't been developed that much. They can be developed there. We could get a Glassianne one, or an Armor Arlie one, or a Patricia one that develops their characters there in episodes. So yeah, now that I've talked about it, I'm really excited to do episodes next. So yeah, really excited for that. I said like, comment, and subscribe. But also follow on Twitter if you want, and I can try to keep you updated on stuff for the channel or talk to you there. If you'd like a link to the Discord server to talk to me or more of us on Discord about this or anything else, just ask and I can give you a link. And also if you want to help support the channel on Patreon and keep it so that I can keep making videos, then of course, as usual, patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you all next time.